Hi, and welcome back to Music Plus Online. Today we're going to continue with our Basics of Jazz series that I'm doing and talk about comping and left-hand independence. Comping is kind of a shortened way of saying complementary, which means we're going to play something complementary on the drums to what we hear in a soloist or an ensemble that we're playing with. Now, the entire time that we do this comping, we need to make sure that our beat is always steady. I talked about in the last lesson how we had to have a good quarter note pulse in the ride cymbal, and we still need to have that while we're comping. If you go down below the video, I've created a worksheet to get us started on that idea. Okay, so go click the link, download the PDF so we can look at the same thing. Now that you've done that, we're going to talk about it. So basically, I have 9 exercises, and it basically has us comping and playing the snare drum on each 8th note in the measure, and then all the 8th notes in the measure, just to get us started. So let's do the first 4. I'll play the first 4, and then we can talk about it afterwards. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so in that, I played, in the first 4 lines, as you can see in the paper, it was beat 1 that we played. And then the second 4 lines, it was beat 2 that we played. In the third one, we played beat 3. And in the fourth one, we played beat 4. Now, each of these can be practiced simply by playing if you really can't get it and you're having trouble, that's totally cool. Spend some time playing just beat 1 on the cymbal, like maybe every 2 bars. So you'd play this. Okay, just to get yourself started. Sometimes when you're first learning these independence tricks, it's really hard to coordinate your hands and feet and get it all working properly. Okay, so take your time and make sure above all else you have a good quarter note pulse. Okay, so now let's take a look at lines 5 through 8. All of these include the ands, and playing the and on the snare drum is where it gets tricky, because we're going to want to accent the and we'll forget about the quarter note pulse. Especially when we're playing the and of 2 and and of 4, because that lines up with the ride cymbal. Okay, we have to play like a 1, 2, and 3, 4, or 1, 2, and 3, 4, and 1. We definitely don't want to do this. 1, 2, and 3, 4, and 1, 2, and 3. Where we end up accenting the snare drum and the ride cymbal at the same time. So it gives our ride cymbal kind of like a 1, 2, and 3, 4, and 1, 2, and 3. It just kind of creates a falling rhythmic feel. It's not steady. There's no pulse. Okay? So, again, as said before, take some time. If you need to do like number 5 10 times, and if you need to play the end of 1 2 bars apart, do it. That way you make sure you have a good ride cymbal. Right now we're creating a good foundation that we can build upon later. So I'm going to play lines 5 through 8, and then I'll talk to you afterwards. Here we go. Great. So now that we've played all eighth notes in the bar individually, it's time to play them all together. And this can be really tricky because we have to kind of incorporate all the difficulties that we had playing each individual one, and all compounds it, so we have to do it at the same time. But again, take it really, really slow, and you'll get it. And even if you have to take like an eighth note at a time, and by that I mean this, okay? You'll play beat 1. And once that feels comfortable, then you can add 1 and. Okay, now we'll add 1 and 2. Okay, now we'll do 1 and 2 and. Okay, now we can do 1 and 2 and 3. And then 1 and 2 and 3 and. 1, 2, here we go. Then 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 1, 2, here we go. And then lastly, we're going to do 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. And then we have it all. 1, 2, here we go. And there you have it. So as I said before, and I keep reiterating this because it's super, super important, that while we're doing any of these exercises, our beat is steady and that we have a good quarter note pulse in the ride cymbal, okay? We always have to be feeling 1, 2, and 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, and 3, 4, and 1. That way the band can stay in time with us. Again, if you need more time on these, spend any amount of time. I have spent an embarrassing amount of time practicing different things just to get it right. So don't feel like there's any pressure to learn it fast, okay? Because greatness takes time. And that's it for today. I'll catch you next week when we talk more about the basics of jazz.